Hello, welcome to another episode of CoinBlock. I'm Charles, and today I'm really excited to be talking to you about the Dadi or Diddy or P Diddy, or I don't know how you say it, the Dadi ICO. As a grown man, I feel ridiculous just trying to pronounce that name. They really need to sort it out and change it. So the Dadi ICO is basically cloud computing on the blockchain. It's similar to Amazon Web Services, only they want to use cryptographic technology. So the idea is nice in principle, but is it really something you want to start throwing your money at? That's the most important thing. And of course, there's been some controversy surrounding the Dadi ICO and their white paper, which I'll talk about in a moment. So as you can see here, this is actually the graph I used a few weeks back to analyze ICOs, and we'll be coming back to it in a minute. I first want to show you the Dadi website. We're going to go through the team, and then we're going to compare it to some of the current ICO projects that are coming out in the next couple of weeks on my graph. So we can see here on the website, it's very nice, very minimal, looks very clean. I like the website and the documentation and the way things are put together. But what is their value proposition? What actually makes them stand out in the cryptocurrency market? And it says, can I migrate my WordPress account to Dadi? And it says yes. So basically they're actually integrating blockchain technology with current technology today. And that tells me it's not just a pie in the sky idea. It actually has real world value, just like Amazon Web Services. So they want to offer the same thing as Amazon Web Services for cloud computing. So it has a lot of potential, but you've got to remember, it's also competing against something like Blue, which wants to do the same thing, but it's kind of business first. Blue is focused towards small and medium-sized enterprises, whereas Dadi is more focused on the individual. So I want to know, do they actually have an MVP or some kind of working product or prototype? So if we scroll down here, we can actually see that they've worked with Richard Branson's Virgin, Monocle, Empire, all these big companies, which is great. But unfortunately, I can't click on them. So that's not very good. They do actually give a list of websites that are currently using their program, and I really want my video to be short and sweet, so I'm going to assume that they have an MVP. All the documentation seems to be in order. In fact, they have excellent documentation. Apart from their white paper, and this is the real kind of caveat that I've had with this ICO. So we can see here, I went to this site, and you can actually see they flagged all the text that has kind of been copied from the SOM ICO. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever been in academia, if you've ever worked for an academic institution or a university, you will know that, you can call it what you want. People plagiarize all the time. It's just how good you are at covering your tracks. And Dadi obviously aren't very good at covering their tracks. So, is this a red flag? Yes, make no mistake. This is a terrible red flag for Dadi, and it really does undermine the credibility of their project. But does that mean Dadi is a scam? I don't think so. I think whatever excuses they have, and they did write a large report about it on Medium, this is really something for you to decide whether or not it's investable. There are definitely clear similarities between the SOM white paper and the Dadi white paper, and it does look like they've just kind of pinched text out of one report and put it into theirs. So it's not very good from that perspective, but the documentation as a whole, the kind of forums they've actually set up, and the amount of work and effort they've actually put in to their whole kind of customer experience is quite impressive. So if it was a scam, they really are pulling out all the stops to try and take your money. I just think really it's human error, and they've just made a big mistake. But they're going to pay for it because many people are staying away from this ICO for that very reason. So what about the team? Are the team all-stars? Well, I really had difficulty trying to gauge the team overall. So if we have a look at the three main members, we've got Joseph Den, the CEO. And that's this gentleman here, Joseph Den. Now, he is an all-star. He's actually worked for Leo Burnett, the Leo Burnett group, and I did a quick Google search here. And you can see they're all over Google News. There's a lot of people reporting on them. They've got about 450 employees. I don't know what the revenue is because it's a private company, but it seems to be legit. and he actually worked there for a number of years. He worked there for 3 years, which is good enough. He's also had posts in a number of other companies, so the BBC, 3 years, Chime. These are all good companies. This company here is actually very small, and I haven't heard of them before. So if we have a look, Airlock, 10 to 50 employees. So if we check out their website, really what I'm trying to do is just do a very quick feasibility study on the team. Stolen or not, I really want to know whether the team has the clout to execute the vision outlined in their white paper. So I'm not getting anything from this, but he has worked for the BBC and he has worked for Leo Burnett. So he's an all-star in my opinion. He's been working here in CMS and various technology roles over the last 2 decades. So that's good. And then we have Chris Mayer. Now, if we have a look at Chris, he's also worked for the same company. He also worked for Diesel in a marketing capacity, which is a clothing company, quite a large one. You've probably heard of them. But the problem I've got here is I'm not seeing anything to do with blockchain. It's just in technology, which is great. He obviously knows how to program a computer and stuff, but that's very different from actually implementing, state-of-the-art cryptographic ledger technology. And then we've got the final team member, which is this gentleman, Will Lebens. The documentation's all good. You can see on each one of their profiles they say they actually work for Dadi, which is what I want to see. He also worked at Leo Burnett, but I'm more interested in the role he actually played there. Leading web services, maintaining client accounts. So even though Leo Burnett is an advertising and marketing agency, he's actually worked there in a technological capacity. But again, there are many, many people across the UK where I'm based who work in a technological capacity, in the IT department, etc. That doesn't make them an all-star in the blockchain space. You need years of experience actually honing your craft in the cryptographic industry. So to cut a long story short, I have given all 3 men all-star status, but I don't feel that they have the requisite skills to really pull this off in the blockchain space. But they are an all-star team, but they're working in IT capacities for kind of marketing firms. They're not working in cryptographic or blockchain capacities for IT firms. So that's not a red flag in any way, but that does tell me that the team isn't as strong as something like Bluezell, where they actually have first-hand experience in kind of cryptographic technologies. So that is something to be very aware of. So I haven't gone through all of the team, but they've got about 18 members and they're all full-timers, which is very good. Now, unfortunately, with the advisors, they only have one guy, Robert Belgrave. So usually I like to see 2 all-star advisors in the team. And I'm looking here. And I'm trying to look for the advisor working for a large corporation where he has experience in the capacity that can really help this ICO. So we got Wirehive. So let's see what Wirehive's all about. 28 employees. We are Wirehive and we are going to change the way you think about web hosting. Yeah, right. Founded in 2005, 50 employees. Right, so this is some kind of web hosting solution. So it directly ties in to what the company wants to do. Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform. Hasn't got many visitors. Kind of a mix of countries going on there. Yeah, so he's got experience, but he's obviously got quite a small business. So if we come to the graph, we can actually compare Dadi to other ICOs. So I briefly want to explain, if it's your first time to my video, how the graph works. When I look at ICOs, I really want to look at the 3 core metrics. I don't really want to dive into the white paper. I don't want that to be the first thing I read. That's always the last thing I read before I invest in an ICO project. I generally want to look at the token economics behind the ICO, the pre-sales and any bonuses that they're offering. I then want to look at the company profile behind the members of the team, and then I like to look at the amount of awareness in the cryptocurrency space for that ICO. So if we actually have a look at Dadi, we can see I've been very, very generous with the project. I also want to note that from now on, I will actually be reviewing my own investments, but I'm not going to confirm or deny what I'm invested in. And the reason why I'm doing that is so I can really bring you more ICOs. A lot of people have been asking me what I've been investing in. A lot of people want to know what my portfolio is. You've got to remember, at the end of the day, the channel I've actually created is about you, and it's about the methodology and the analysis and the information I share with you. It's not about me. I'm inconsequential. I'm just space dust. So I don't want to talk about my investments, and I don't want to confirm or deny what I'm invested in. Not because I'm trying to hoodwink you or try and pull a fast one or pump my own investments. Not at all. On the contrary, I actually want to be as objective and rational as possible. And the only way I could do that is really act as a narrator for you guys and really guide you through the ICO process. So, as you can see here with Dadi, I've been very, very generous. So generous that I'm actually going to change their rating, and I'm actually going to give them 6 out of 10 for the team. So I usually give 7 out of 10, which will classify them as an all-star team. But because they got one all-star advisor, and that all-star advisor has been working for a very small firm and there's no other advisors there, and because the team are all-stars, but they don't have direct experience in the blockchain space, despite having experience in IT, all that stuff, I'm going to actually mark them down. So I'm going to give them 60% for the team. So they've got a good, competent team, but they're not all-stars. For the hype, this metric doesn't actually take in negative hype. The hype that's actually the notoriety, so to speak, surrounding their white paper. This is actually inaccurate. This should be called awareness. This is just the amount of awareness in the cryptocurrency market for this ICO. I know a lot of people are aware of this ICO. A lot of people have been talking to me about it and they've wanted me to do a review about it. So that's why I've actually given it about 8 for the hype, 8 to 9. And then we've got the token economics. So each token is actually going to be sold for 50 cents. And they want to raise $29 million, which is a very, very low cap, especially since the market has grown so drastically in the past 6 to 8 weeks. And they're only going to be releasing 100 million tokens, which is a great number. That's incredibly low. And the available supply is 50%. So I'm very, very bullish on the token economics for this project. I'm actually a bit disheartened, to tell you the truth, that they've had this whole fiasco around their white paper, because the token economics are actually perfect, and they're going to be offering 20% bonus for pre-sale investors and a referral-based discount system. So that's not a red flag, actually. I usually only mark down ICOs if they're going to be giving bonuses of 30% or more. 20% is very good, so I've actually given them around about 80% for token economics, as you can see here. What I don't like about the token economics is really the referral-based discounts. Let's just, for argument's sake, say I was going to be investing in Dadi. What I would do is I'd start spamming all you guys with my referral link, and I'd be saying, oh, use my referral link, and then that way you'd know that the information I'm actually giving you is biased. So I'm not actually going to do that. I don't actually think it's right to actually give people referral links to an ICO that you're reviewing. That's only going to discredit the information I'm giving you. So I don't like that about Dadi. It just means there's more false information out there. And the final note on Dadi is actually their roadmap. The roadmap they've got is very, very impressive, but it's actually a 1-year-long roadmap, and it's actually crammed to the top with too much information. It's actually overly ambitious, and it works out at about 9 or 10 projects that they want to complete every quarter. So you've got about 40 or 50 projects that this ICO actually wants to do for 2018. I'm not really too sure how they can pull it off. That said, the documentation is first class with this project. Now we really want to see how Dadi is going to compete in the market against its main competitors. So of course you've got Bluzelle. As you can see, we have Bluzelle at the top here with a hype rating of 100%. The only other ICO that I've given 100% to was EOS a few months back, which was also at a very, very high level with its hype. Now you can see here, this isn't a full review of Bluzelle by any stretch of the imagination, but I am very bullish on the project. I actually gave it 80% of the team. They have 4 all-star team members, and that's actually excluding the advisors. They have many good advisors working for them. Token economics are very good with Bluzelle. It's about 12 cents per token, $19.5 million for the market cap, which is very, very low. 30% bonus, which is a little bit high. However, it's going to be locked up for 30 days. So that's very good there. So you're not going to get burnt with the tokens unless you hold it for more than 30 days, but that's going to be cancelled out because of the price appreciation, the price movement of their tokens after the ICO. There's a lot of unmet demand for this. So I don't think the bonus system is actually going to deter investors in any way. I don't really think it's going to harm anyone. Of course, I could be wrong, and that's not financial advice. They're going to be releasing 500 million tokens, so it's not a really high number like Ripple or Tron. You know, it's still under 1 billion, which is okay, and they're going to be releasing 33% of their token supply. And Bluzelle wants to do the same thing as Dadi. As I've said before, it's a decentralized database for dApps or decentralized applications. But unlike Dadi, Bluzelle is actually business and enterprise first. So it's working in the B2B space, which I think is a great space to be in if you're an ICO. Dadi wants to focus on the individual. I don't really think that's the answer in the ICO space. I really think it's for the big boys, and I really think it's for B2B enterprises. And next on my list is WePower, which has many parallels with Powerledger, and it wants to create a green energy trading platform. So overall, I think the idea is very good with WePower. Even though they haven't got first mover advantage, I think they've got a capable team, not an all-star team. I really need to do more research on them. So I actually gave them 5 for the team. I think the team could actually be better than that. Again, you need to really look at the white paper and understand the LinkedIn profiles for all the team members. I think the hype's very good. I gave them about 70%. And then we've got the token economics. Now, they're actually giving away a 25% bonus, which is still under 30%, which is good. But you're probably wondering why I marked them so high here for the token economics. And the reason for that is that actually the amount of pre-sale investors who've received that discount is actually 9%. So 9% of all investors are actually going to be getting that 25% bonus. So I don't think that's enough to really harm the token price when it hits the market in the next few months. So I'm quite bullish on this project. The fourth ICO I wanted to quickly look at is F-Horse. What? So F-Horse has 2 main red flags. The first one is it's giving away 100%, well, first I should tell you what they want to do. It's basically a platform to bet on the price movement of cryptocurrencies. So it's a betting platform, and as you know from my previous videos, I don't invest in anything to do with lotteries or betting. It's just it's a gamble, basically. They're offering a 100% pre-sale bonus. So if I put $1,000 into this, I'm going to get $1,000 back in tokens. That's not good. That means as soon as this hits the exchanges, if there's no lockup period for pre-sale investors, the price is just going to plummet. And the second red flag is really the team. They're anonymous. I don't know who the team is. So with all those factors taken into account, and because nobody knows about them, I've given them 1 for hype, 0 for token economics, and I haven't even ranked the team. I gave them a 0. So it's something to stay away from. But again, I could be wrong. I mean, if you want to gamble, you could probably chuck them a few $100s. I wouldn't recommend it though, because there's no information on the project. This really is as risky as they get. So it's something just to avoid altogether. And the fifth ICO I wanted to talk about was InsurePal. Now, this is actually quite a good idea. It wants to create a self-regulating social proof platform for insurance, targeting the car insurance industry in the UK. So it's entering a market that's in need of disruption. It's a very, very good idea. I think the team are capable. I didn't give them an all-star team. I gave them about 6 out of 10. For the hype, there's definitely awareness for this project. I gave it around a 6 here. I think John McCarthy was talking about them. And for the token economics, I think a lot of these ICOs are actually watching my videos because they're actually getting rid of bonuses, which is a good thing in my books, because a bonus really just dumps all the tokens on the exchange when it's released. So I always penalize an ICO with the token economics if they have too much in the way of bonuses. And that's really the opposite for InsurePal. They're only giving away a 10% bonus, which I think is very, very good. The team have significant experience in the insurance, technology and financial industries, which is very good. However, on most of their profiles, they weren't publicizing the fact that they were working for InsurePal. That's usually the first thing I want to see on the top of their LinkedIn page. And they consistently confused the words arbitration and arbitrage in their white paper documentation. Arbitration is an alternative form of dispute resolution, and arbitrage is when you take advantage of two price differences when you're trading between two or more markets. So I think there's a few issues with InsurePal. They really need to get native English speakers on their team. And the final ICO on my list is, of course, Apex. Now, I actually think Apex is quite an interesting project. Not for the idea. I think the idea is shit, if I'm actually honest with you. But you see, when you invest in ICOs, you need to look for two things. You need to look for perceived value, and you need to look for a community behind the project. Now, I don't know about the community in regards to Apex, but I do think Apex has a lot of perceived value. And it basically wants to create marketing solutions powered on the Neo blockchain for customers' loyalty or some malarkey. I don't know. I do foresee the price going down in the short to medium term with a project of this nature. Now, each token was about 4 or 5 cents. They're releasing 1 billion tokens, and the token supply is around 50% of that. So very good there. But I think if I bought in at the main crowd sell, it wouldn't have been good for me as an investor. This is really something to watch on the exchanges. Now, the main pluses with this project are really its partners. It's actually partnered with Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, AliCloud, Baidu, some Chinese companies. It's a Chinese ICO. So again, I haven't done much research on this, but it is something to investigate if you want to pick something up off the exchanges. The main problem with this project is their customer base. It's not significant enough to actually sell data on their platform for enterprise users. So that's something to be very aware of. That should really be at the forefront of your mind. You know, how they're actually going to monetize data if they haven't got customers to sell it to. So again, high risk, high reward. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and of course hit that notification button, because investing in ICOs is time critical, and it'd be such a shame for you to watch all my videos only to miss out on the latest ICO projects. I will see you in the next episode.